All right, and welcome to Flip Lesson number 3. You need to watch this by Thursday, August the 21st, and we're going to be talking about geography. We'll be using the McGraw-Hill textbook online, so if you want to go ahead and access that online, you may do so. If you need the usernames and passwords, they will be posted on Skyward, so you can check there for any of the username or passwords. As you watch, I'll be showing you some video of the online textbook. Okay, today we're going to look at section 1 of chapter 2 in your McGraw-Hill book and discuss the following main ideas. We're going to talk about hemispheres, latitude, longitude, and then we're going to talk about projections that are made from globes to maps. We'll do an activity at the end with latitude and longitude. So when you come into class on Thursday, we'll be using the iPads and covering some geographical information. Okay, looking in your textbook, we're going to go through and look at some of the important parts we talked about earlier, including the hemispheres as well as the definitions of latitude and longitude. And then we're going to talk a little bit about map projections. One of the first pages of this section you can see here, and like I said, I'll put the login information on Skyward if you want to log in at home and look at the McGraw-Hill text. But let's talk first about hemispheres, and as you can see, okay, let's see if we can do that. Well, we live in North America, and that is in the Western Hemisphere. But in addition to being in the Western Hemisphere, we live in the Northern Hemisphere. So we live in the Northern Hemisphere and also the Western Hemisphere. As you can see, the division of the Earth here in this graphic. Okay, so what are the hemispheres? Well, according to our text, to find a place on the Earth, geographers use a system of imaginary lines that crisscross the globe. The equator is one of these lines, and it circles the middle of the Earth like a belt. It divides the Earth into half spheres or hemispheres. Everything north of the equator is in the Northern Hemisphere. Everything south of the equator is in the Southern Hemisphere. Going back here to our map or our diagram, we can see this. Coming back here to our graph, we can see the hemispheres, and this would be the equator line that was described in the text, dividing the northern and the southern hemisphere. And as you can see, I've highlighted the next paragraph. Another imaginary line that divides the Earth divides it into eastern and western hemispheres, and that line is known as the prime meridian. So we looked at the belt that kind of goes around the Earth, and that's known as the equator and divides us from the northern and southern hemispheres. But there's also a line that kind of goes through from top to bottom of the Earth, known as the prime meridian, which gives us our eastern and our western hemispheres. Again, here coming back to our graph, this would be the prime meridian. We are on the western hemisphere of the prime meridian. As you can see, it kind of comes through Europe and Africa and Asia. Most of Africa, Australia are on the eastern hemisphere. North America, South America are completely on the western hemisphere. The text also talks about lines of latitude. You can see right here. And also lines of longitude. We'll be using those two a little bit later on at the end of this flipped lesson. But latitude circles the Earth parallel to the equator. They measure distance north or south of the equator. Longitude measures distances that run east or west of the prime meridian. And I've flattened out here on our text the term projections. Using mathematics, there are now other ways to advance with technology and mathematics to create projections or ways of showing the Earth on a flat sheet of paper. Each kind of projection shows the Earth's surface, and we'll spend some time on Thursday talking in class about some of these map projections. Okay, And for Thursday, I want you to go to the following website, mygeoposition.com, and I'll show you in just a second what it looks like, but you're going to find your geo position for your home address, the address of Jefferson Middle School, which I've put here, 200 Fairbanks Road, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Somewhere that you've been that is out of Oak Ridge. If you went somewhere this summer, put that down. Florida, if you went to Georgia, if you went to North Carolina, somewhere you want to go out of Oak Ridge. And I'm going to challenge you there. Try to pick somewhere you want to go out of Oak Ridge that is one in the United States, and then try to pick somewhere you want to go that is outside of the United States. And then last but not least, try to pick a location that's not in any hemisphere that we're located in. So it can't be in the northern hemisphere, and it can't be in the western hemisphere. So you can pick from the southern hemisphere or the eastern hemisphere, or I'd even let you pick the northeastern hemisphere as well. Here you can see the my geo position, and for example, I'll put in a place I went to this summer, which is in Belfast, Maine, and it's going to pull up the geo position for Belfast, Maine. It gives me latitude and longitude, and it gives me instructions for if I want to copy that information and have that ready for class, or if you just want to write that information down. So mygeoposition.com. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday when we talk about geography and using geography skills.